This is one of the bouts to me, AJ, that I truly feel is a crucial moment for the next generation of UFC stars here. So Arlovski, chiseled vet, right? His last fight was against Tanner Boser, who was also another dude who, he's like a heavyweight who moves like a middleweight or like a welterweight. This is a dude who he's the next breed of, UFC heavyweights. He's going to beat Arlovski and, they're going to pass the torch. Arlovski was having none of that. This dude counter-strike the counter-striker, and it's basically the same matchup all over again, except Tom Aspinall, if he hits you, you're going to go to sleep. Everybody has gone to sleep. But I want to ask you this, man. Being that, how much stock are you putting in the old school vets who are still hanging around the UFC right now? Arlovski is clearly not the Arlovski he was when he was a champion back in 05 and 06, but he's still someone you can't necessarily mess with, man. How much stock do you put into just veteran experience? Like, how much does that factor into your picks?
Well, Derek asked me that about a month and a half ago, and I would have said very little stock. But over the past couple months, last month and a half, couple weeks, with seeing Andre Arlovski perform, even the dude that just got tatted on his back, got the samurai tall
Volkov.
Yeah, even seeing all these old fighters perform, it's really impressive seeing what they're actually outputting. Because you noted the Boser fight, and man, I don't think I was counting Arlovski in even anywhere near in that fight, and he put a hurting on him. It was very impressive. He's moving fast. And that's kind of my big crucial turning point in this fight for Arlovski is he needs to show up. He needs to prove that he's that old dog again. And if he does, it's going to be a hell of a night for him. What do you think? How much do you put into it?
Well, I put a lot of stock into it, man, just because it's not about, okay, maybe you don't got that heavyweight pop that you used to have once upon a time, right? Maybe you don't have some of that skill and some of that, that fast twitch, some of the agility that you had when you was a youngster, right? Maybe that's totally could be true. But what you do have is that experience where you've seen it all, you've done it all, you've seen every strike from every different angle. And that's where things get really dangerous, when you're talking about a young gun who's used to just knocking dudes out. And like a Tom Aspinall, for an example, this dude, Tom Aspinall, man, is knocking everybody out in the first round. So when you're just starching people, you're just rolling past them, you're never having to go to the judges, then that's just one of those things. And we're going to talk about that in the Phil Hawes fight next, right? Where it just makes me think, okay, well, if Arlovski can do what he did to Tanner Boser, which is just like, not allow him to get those strikes off that he's accustomed to and take him into the deep waters, how are they going to react? Are you going to get frustrated when you can't just put somebody down as you're accustomed to? I'm not sure. And those are some of the questions that I've had to ask myself. But ultimately for this fight, listen, man, I'm going to go straight. I'll tell you who I think is going to win. I think that Tom Aspinall is going to win this fight. I think that he has a very high likelihood of knocking out Andre Arlovski. But I want to ask you personally, what do you think Arlovski can do to make this muddy for Tom Aspinall? What can he do to make this no walk in the park? It won't be a walk in the park, but what does he have to do?
It's not going to be a walk in the park because Tom Aspinall is a very good boxer. He can drop you very close. He knows his timing. His technique is very precise. I think what Andre Arlovski needs to do is keep that pressure on him. Keep it on him the whole time. Not let him be popping on the end of his shots, and actually keep moving forward and make Aspinall fight off his back foot. If he can, that's going to be his one way to drag him into that deep water and throw some water in the basement and actually get him lagging a little bit and not have that pop like the young guns do, and get them both kind of on the fair playing ground and show Tom Aspinall something that he hasn't seen before. Because like you said, he doesn't have necessarily all those fights, all those years of hard-earned grit, hard-earned heart that are actually determining and pushing forward. He still has that cocky young man's attitude. What do you think?
Well, listen, man, I like what you're saying. I don't think that's going to happen because, this is Arlovski that's 43 years old or whatever the case may be. He's actually 42 years old. And he's got about similar reach as Tom Aspinall. They're pretty much about the same height, 6'4", 6'5". I think that Arlovski, what he's going to need to do because he is a counter striker at this stage in the game, is he needs to just time Tom Aspinall, man. He's going to be on the back foot, I'm pretty sure, but he needs to do what he did against Boser, which is be tentative, and close it out in the last minute of each round. Just really put it on him in the last minute. Try to bully the dude who's used to bullying people, man. So, I mean, it's interesting. There's a couple of different ways this could play out, but ultimately, I am going Tom Aspinall winning by knockout in the second round. What are your thoughts?
Wow. No, I'm with you on the Aspinall pick, but I'm going decision. I don't necessarily know if I think he has the potential to knock out Arlovski, but I don't know if he will.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things about, veteranship, right, is that you could take away those knockouts and make you have to earn it, right? But, yeah, man, that'll be an interesting one. And that one just got moved up to the main card that originally wasn't slated as a main card bout.